Hey, everybody, and welcome to the third ever episode of the Council Podcast. This one, we focus mainly on Grand Arena and topics such as what the future of the game is looking like, what updates are coming in, how CG's approach to the whole game is changing, and then some other global news that was kind of interesting that Ken brought up. So, a lot of good stuff. Calvin Austin didn't join this time. He had some scheduling conflicts, which is understandable given the season, the holiday season. I hope you enjoy this one. It was a lot of fun.
All right, guys, welcome back to the third monthly The Council, a podcast, YouTube, maybe streaming sometime, who knows, episode of talking about all things competitive-ish, mostly PvP-ish. But last time we meandered a bit off the path into the raid category. We'll see if we do the same thing this time. With us today, we are missing our fifth member, Calvin Awesome, who has competitive holiday activities. So it is just the four of us, myself, Kin, Sanjita, Tasnex, and Van Seal. Sanjita, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, yeah, if you're watching this on my channel, you probably know who I am. Just do a lot of Grand Arena rankings, different discussion things, stuff like that. I'm only on YouTube, just SONGETA at YouTube.
Cool. And Das?
I stream on Twitch here, GAC only. I also have I post all those streams over on YouTube, and I have a podcast of my own, Plotting and Scheming, which is a week in review format about GAC. That's about it, I'd say.
And Van Seal.
Well, I'm Van Seal. I like long walks to the beach. I like my In-N-Out double-doubles with no onions, no tomatoes, extra pickles. And I stream on both YouTube and Twitch.
All right.
Fashionable.
Yeah, it makes me hungry. And I'm Kin. I do this thing. I have GrandArenaScience.com and some Discord stuff. And actually, recently, the last 6 months or so, I've been doing a podcast, mostly Meta Moments, which is like 10 minutes every couple of days about GAC and TW. And that's been a lot of fun. So to get started, I guess the easy way to begin, well, first of all, happy holidays to everybody who's celebrating or not celebrating or whatever you do during the holiday season. I'm into it with the viewers and listeners as well.
I think Tass celebrates. Judging by the
I
head.
do. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Is this actually video? Like, is there video with this? People gonna see me with this on, or am I just
am
I just looking real fancy for you, fine-looking gentlemen?
People will see you. I've uploaded the past two, and I don't know if Van Seal's recording now too. It sounded like it. So yeah, you'll be out there.
Yes, I do celebrate. Yes.
I love the Christmas hat. That's very nice. And it's perfect the way your ball is dangling. Fantastic.
Thank you. I get that a lot.
Okay, well, let's move on to the first question then, or the first topic. Not really a question. How did you guys do this last season? Like, how did it feel? Good wins, bad wins, the experiences, new counters, whatever. Van Seal, you want to start? How did it go?
Actually. So I went 5-4, so it wasn't the greatest season, but thankfully all of my losses were like a shot to the head, like not 5 to the chest. It was like 2 battles in, I was like, oh yeah, we're done. Cool, we can move on. Yeah, it was interesting. I'm really looking forward to 5s, not just because it's 5s and we just hit 3s, but I find it funny every time we do 3s. I feel like we come up with more ideas and new ways to prep for 5s. So we got a couple new characters during 3.
Yeah.
We have Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Some people got Bo-Katan, and then also they announced Bane. So I think there's definitely a shift, I think, in people prepping for the upcoming seasons, especially the next 3v3. So is there anything interesting that I thought of or saw? Not really. I don't think there's anything that stood out. I mean, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon was obviously a new thing with the Stormtrooper and the 400%, offense converted to, or defense converted to offense. That was a whole pain in the butt. But I think the biggest team, the biggest upset was the CLS Drogon Chupio team.
Yeah,
I
saw
fought that a
caused
couple
lot of.
times, and I was like, all right, well, I guess that's where we're ending it. We're getting stuck there. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. The season went by really quickly, though. I'm not sure if that's just because it was December. The month just flew by, but it felt like we just started like last week.
Yeah, I felt also went by pretty quickly. I know the holiday thing was part of it. Like there's a couple of matches where, well, one I just couldn't finish my attacks. I didn't have any data past the first couple of hours. We were doing some camping thing. But many of the other days just being a little distracted by, friends and family and stuff like that. But it feels like really this season, I mean, Beck has been around last season, but he was just there at like the tail end of 5v5. So there's so many characters introduced this season that, in my opinion, don't really even fit in 3v3 so well. Who knows about Bo, but I mean, nobody had her for 3v3, obviously. So yeah. I'm very curious to see how 5v. I think that's the main reason I'm personally interested in 5v5 more so than I have been in quite a while, just because all the new characters and seeing how they fit in. How did yours go, Tass? What was yours like?
It started off rough. I was matched up with Sasha Isha and I want to say Kabuki Warrior, respectively, like off rip. And yeah, so those were, I lost both those. And then I won every match thereafter. And a personal achievement. I've fought in the top bracket a few times, bouncing in and out. This is the first time I swept it. I actually went 3-0 in the top bracket for the first time. And if it weren't for the fact that Aesop Rock, who's the guy sitting at number one, has such an enormous accrued rating advantage, I would have finished number one. But he is just the winningest guy. So yeah.
Yeah, there's Tasnick's at number 2. It's kind of reversed on my camera, but he's number 2 right now globally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats, man.
Congrats, man.
Nice.
I went into that match at rank 2 and then finished rank 2 with a win. That's what I'm saying.
That's something.
He's a monster. Yeah. It is. So I had a great time. It was absolutely like a red letter season for me. Like amazing.
I can see why you're wearing the Santa hat. I mean, Santa did bring you a lot of presents this season.
I guess yes, the gods of RNG gifted me a few extra drops, so I'll consider that from Santa as well.
Yeah, I guess he's really Aesop's really built up his score again. I remember I kept checking and he was like dipping like I don't know 2, 3, 4, 5 for a while, but yeah, he's got like a 200-point lead still.
Oh, he's an absolute monster.
Yeah, that's crazy. I hope for the sake of him and yourself as well, and anybody else that's up there in the top 10 or something, that they bring some sort of, I don't know, give you a title or some extra little bonus or something like that, because it's hard work.
Yeah, you used to get the Kyber Contender tag at the end of the season, but now you get nothing. And it means way more now.
Everybody gets Kyber Combatant at best. It's like,
yeah.
Now, like my secret, ultra secret, super strategy here is if I should ever finish a season at rank 1, like I will write an email to CG and humiliate myself, begging for the opportunity to have the Premier Kyber Champion channel, because I will debase myself for that title.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think that's a pretty cool title to have. All right, Sunjita, how about yourself? Any debasement coming up in the future, or
I don't think I'll
pretty
ever.
High.
I've been getting pretty high. I don't think I'll be in the position to debase myself for a title like Tass. I don't think I'd even smell the top 10. But I mean, this is the first season where I stayed in top 100 brackets the whole time. I went 5-4. And last season I was 7-2, so I was already like kind of high up. So I thought I would just get like steamrolled the first week, but I went 2-1, then went 2-1 the second week, and then 1-2 the last week. Always pretty tough opponents. I faced 3 Maw Chromium players in a row, so Tassinix's guild mates, and
Sorry about that.
I mean I won all 3 of those, so I was happy with it. But
Oh, look at you!
yeah,
Damn! Can you rattle off their names so that I can like harass them later?
I don't know them off.
They're no longer
one
in the
was
guild anymore.
Rockstar. I forget,
Oh,
but like I
Rockstar's
had.
good.
Ooh, Rockstar's
good.
good.
I
Yeah,
had
he's
a
cool.
whole he was good. He actually dropped like a ton on my defense. He dropped like 11 times, and I was shocked. But he was
Please
nice.
be
He,
like that. Like, yeah, he committed too much to defense. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I dropped 1 time on his defense. Like the only thing that was tricky. Well, he set C in the back, which I was able to beat. C Malik, which I was able to beat with Afra, and then he set Lord Vader Riva,
Mhm.
which I ended up 2-shotting because I used JMK, no revive, but those stats are so weak, and there's no like benefit that they all died.
Yeah.
Lord Vader killed him at the end. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a great season. I was really stoked to beat the 3 Maul players in a row. Last week, though, everyone just started cheesing, or like my last 2 opponents, I lost twice in a row to like people that were cheesing. Like the first guy, I lost. I took 5 battles to beat like a seer team on the front because I was like respecting the back wall too much. Get back there, nothing. And then the last guy, I scouted him ahead to know that he doesn't set anything on defense. So I only set Leia, no other GLs. I was on pace for like a 2090 score, and then I lost Chimera versus Executor.
Wow.
I still got a 2068, but I was just I could have used profundity.
That's like an
but
entire week's worth of points for me.
yeah, if you're like the loaded up on defense type. But yeah, like it was weird. It was like the complete opposite. I attacked first, and I was like, I don't know, I dropped like 5 banners the whole land game, and then just messed up on ships. So that was hard. But overall, it was a pretty successful season. I just hope that that's not like a thing going forward, because I don't want pure cheese. I like heavy offense, but not like, oh, neither of us are gonna set anything. And just hope, because like even if you did set a lot, if I bring everything, I feel like I could beat it all, you know. So
I
Yeah,
feel like
some
I
people
have
have
some
been
bad
bad.
news for you. Like, I feel like the meta might not feature like no GLs on D, but to feel like it's going to get like even more efficiency based, even more cheesy, so to speak, like
yeah,
that seems entirely probable to me.
yeah,
Well,
I
In
this
threes, at least.
because, and this is kind of going with like, I mean, this is not giving anyone territory wars, but like, at the upper echelon territory wars, fleets are all the same.
mhm.
Like we don't even plan for fleets anymore. It's exactly the same. It's always Executor, Leviathan, and back for like 9 out of 10 times. Doesn't matter what the guild is. So it's like, even if you're efficient in every
What was the
territory,
third one?
there's no third. It's just the 2 because territory wars.
Yeah.
Oh wait, territory wars. Never
I'm-
mind. Yeah, you're the
I'm just saying
TW
the
guy.
fleet meta is so stale right now. It is sometimes it's just coming down to the fleets.
Can I
Yeah,
say this though? Can I say this though? In the final match of the season versus Aesop, he set Profundity, Executor with IG2K, Houndstooth, and Razorcrest up front,
Okay.
and Leviathan with Mark 6 up front. So he triple metaed me. And I saved Leviathan to make sure that I could steamroll either Profundity or Leviathan, depending on how I felt. And I ended up doing Chimera versus Leviathan. I had Negotiator on defense with Marauder up front. And anyway, the point is it's like that was like, you to your point, Van Seal. Like, it's been really, really stale for Fleetwise. There's just been that handshake of Malevolence, Executor, and Leviathan on defense, and he who drops first sucks ass for all time. Like, that's basically how that's been for a while. But that was
the
a
greatest
really
thing
rare
to rely
fight.
on is just ship RNG. It doesn't matter how good you are. You could just get like
That
1 or
too.
2 more dodges, and it's like you lost because of that dodge. It doesn't
That
matter.
too.
You could have gone perfect banners on the ground. Because of that one dodge, you're gonna lose.
Yes, that absolutely can happen. But I just wanted to mention that because that was a rare and really interesting exception to the meta that I've been seeing on fleets. Anyway, sorry.
I actually think in GAC, the fleet meta, it's sort of annoying because like fleets in general, you have the RNG that you have no ability to control, especially at the higher levels where everybody's fleets are the same relic levels and the same stats. But in GAC, actually, it is interesting because this season, the season sort of, I don't like using the word cheese necessarily, but definitely the season of efficiency for a lot of players. I've seen so many players keep both Profundity and Leviathan for offense, which is the first season where I've seen, I would say, a third-ish of the videos that I see, at least. People are doing that for offense.
It's interesting you say that because looking back at my season, most people I fought did that, and most people actually watched, including myself. Nobody lost because of ships. Like, nobody lost because they couldn't clear ships. Ships is just like ships is just there. It just exists right now. But
Awesome
yeah, I know.
match.
I saw a lot of people bring both of them on. But I'm saying, did you clear it though?
I cleared it, but the drop was enough to screw me. Yeah, I saw a lot of people didn't set Leviathan, and I was happy every time because I had until this week I had a 6-star Leviathan. I just didn't have enough crystals to like finish it, so I had it for a long time. So people would just abuse that and like dunk on it with their Leviathan, just for like easy full banners. So I thought people were just doing that, but if like they're doing it to everyone, then it's kind of weird.
Well, it's just like it takes out the RNG because you can mirror match virtually every setup and get 73 to 75, sometimes 72 or 71 if you're unlucky. But it's
like,
very interesting.
What if you have like a weak Sith assassin, like you didn't take it past R5? Like that's not going to work, right?
Yeah, you can still play it out. Like essentially, you're sort of racing to alt rather than trying to get the turn meter change, just because AI is not too smart. I think you have like there's 90-ish% win rate. Doesn't matter the relic levels of your pilots. Like
it's interesting. I'll have to practice that in Fleet Arena then. I've still been using
having a fast Sith assassin though, still helps. Having a fast Sith assassin still helps.
Yeah.
Definitely helps. Yeah. But it's interesting talking about like how much offense there is in general this season. And like in my mind, there's two things that are causing that. One is not for all players, but for many players in Kyber 1, they have all of the toys. They have the 7-star Leviathan. They have Leia. They have, Afra has been unlocked. There's no new marquees that came out halfway through the season that gave like a big power advantage. And it was so easy to get the good set 11 or set 12 DCs. Like it feels like the levelist, most level playing field we've had in a long time.
That's something I talked about a lot on my streams was the because people were asking me like if I was going to go for bow, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go for bow. I'll get her the next time or the next time. But it feels like there's just, and I keep saying this, that there's just too much, like there's too many tools in the game that do the same thing. So like people were saying that like, oh, the new Moff Gideon's getting full banners against this team, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, well, this team also accomplishes that task.
Yeah.
And one of them's going to get benched because, well, there's just too many teams in the game right now. There's just too many characters that can do similar tasks, and then you have datacrons that are just revolving. So that school of teams, I guess, is constantly changing, but you still have just this mass quantity. So it's like, all these new characters adding. Like when we get Bane, that's a whole nother team or half team, however you want to look at it. When everyone gets more people get Bow, it's a whole thing.
A new team, do you think? Because I'm like, I mean, if he just replaces Watt, then it's not too much of a change because that can only be offense, and then on defense, I don't know if he'd really. Do you think he'll be a competent full team?
I like him on defense. I'm going to be using him on defense more than offense, I think.
I think he might be demanding for what he is on defense. I think to your point, though, Sanjit, I think most players will probably be doing the partnership with C.
Yeah, most people do offense for JC for the value of the extra banners, but defense-wise, you can really pack that Sith team with a lot of stuff.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's sort of, it seems like in GAC especially, Territory Wars, it's a little bit different, but same concept, is the value now, or the benefit comes mostly from not messing up on offense, and then putting something that is just not in GAC history or GG data. They have like 7 results for some team. Even if it sucks, if you actually sort of like think through it, for many people, I mean, myself included, I'm not side of this, but seeing and playing against something new is a lot more dangerous than just, oh, well, there's been 97 of these. I've seen them 12 times.
Yeah.
That just do the thing from one of the 3 teams that kills it 100% of the time.
And not to jump topics, but Songjina reminded me of a point that I already forgot I wanted to talk about. But Bane being on offense. So going back to what I was saying, like there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of different characters that accomplish the same tasks in this game. So shifting over to like Territory Wars, if you do like C Watt versus something, it's going to be the same result as probably C Bane or C Armorer or C Set, because you run the risk of it's going to be a 19 or a 20. All you're doing with Bane is that ceiling of what C can kill gets a little bit higher, but then like if you lose Bane, which sometimes you want to get that, all those benefits from him dying, it's like you're still getting a 19 at the end of the day in TW. GAC, yeah, you'll get the better benefits, but yeah, that's just the point I wanted to make about like there's a lot of characters that kind of were being recycled with what their uses are.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I think at the I don't know, like 6 to 9 million GP range, where these players for quite a while were sort of stuck out of, advancing into some version of Kyber, or not stuck necessarily, but a lot more complicated for them. And now with all of these light speed bundles giving them, I mean, there's still problems, Zeta shortages and Omicrons and relics and mods and all of that, but not relics, but mods and such. Things are just getting, I don't know, more and more easy to compete, it feels like.
Those rosters are getting destroyed, though, by the way. All these, like, earlier game Lightspeed bundles. Because I'm doing a lot of roster reviews, and everyone buys them, and then they have, like, horrible mod. Like, with these Rebel ones, too, like, just flooding their roster. Like, and it's like half their substance is just from these packs, and then just awful mods and, like, no Zetas. It's kind of funny to see. They're just really getting watered down hardcore.
I wouldn't say they're destroying, but like it's you're committing. It is kind of like a bait and switch in my opinion. Like it's a $10 pack, but you are buying into that lot of characters, and now you have to pretty much mod them, Zeta. Then there's also the learning curve of like playing with them for hours and hours and hours, learning how to use the counters, because you can't just buy something and immediately know how to use it perfectly the first time. Like you're going to mess up several times. You're going to have to tweak things around. So I mean, I think it's still good because it is cutting out the busy work of just acquiring the toys to play with, which is good. But yeah, it is a commitment, because you're also saying by buying these packs, you're going to give up your ability to basically work on anything that's brand new, because you can't just neglect these characters you just got.
Lightspeed bundle is sort of like the printers of the home office, You still gotta get the ink and the paper, and it's expensive work.
One benefit, like I haven't heard people talk about too much, and like something I don't know, like it helps players bloat to 4 million pretty fast, like because you want to get to 4 million for Proving Grounds
Conquest,
and like Conquest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think bloat, like that's actually pretty valuable to it on its own, like even if the characters aren't good or not, because like I don't know, the Conquest characters are just so broken. Like the acquisition method, if you don't get them like through normal Conquest, Proving Grounds is horrible. I don't know. It's just way too gated. Like there's so many teams that are just gated off from newer players just from that. I really hope CG like does some serious upgrades to that, because it's been like forever since Cat came out.
It's like the acquisition method for the Conquest characters, you mean?
Yeah, the
Or
acquisition
increasing
method.
the-
Like they're too hard to get. It's harder than a GL unless you
I
just
have a
throw
feeling
like
they
tons of
will.
crystals at it. They should,
I
yeah.
have a feeling that will make them easier, just because you can make them easier to get, but you're going to run into the same issues. It's like Zetas, mods, and you're going to get people to spend on Zeta and mod packs now more than anything else, in my opinion. I mean, I have this theory that CG is trying to kick out all the top end players of the game, all the whales, because I don't believe the whales are spending on the game anymore. If anything,
Trying
whales
to kick
are
them out.
quitting almost. Oh, I think so. I think they want to get new blood, and I think they want new whales because
I
the
think they
current
can
whales,
exist at the same, like they're looking for
Yeah, I
both.
think they want
The
peaceful
old whales
coexistence.
because a lot of the
spending.
stuff they've been doing is catering towards newer players, which is fine, which is great.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
it
they
just
need to
feels
do
like
that.
the top end of the game, every couple weeks you have a couple people leave from, different guilds, and those accounts that are like 13, 14 mil, those are really hard to replace. But
Yeah.
I think they're trying to get they're trying to see like, okay, well, these whales aren't spending anymore, so we got to get the money from like the rest of the community essentially. So we're going to cater towards them, and we'll charge them, $10 packs. But if 1,000 people buy those $10 packs as opposed to one or two whales, I just think that's the direction they're going right now, because a lot of the stuff is very catered towards newer players or players that are trying to catch up, which is fine. But it's just interesting. There's definitely been a change of the guard, I think, at CG.
I think it's more like trying to add a new market segment. I don't think they want like whales to quit, like old whales. I think
Yeah.
that'd be kind of crazy.
No, they have an incentive to make more players play, and to what you're saying, Van Seal, like I believe you if you were to tell me that a lot of players at the top of the game are spending less than they used to, but for those that still spend, boy, do they make up for a lot of people. Like I spend money on this game, but I actually don't spend money on Datacrons. And I'll have something like for 2 sets, like right now I have something like 170 rerolls, and I'm fighting people with 700 plus, 750 plus, 800.
Yeah.
And like you just the napkin math in your head, you're just running. It's like what that costs thereabouts.
Yeah,
like so with respect to what you're saying, like they're definitely trying to get a lot more like dolphins and other like low spenders in. But like, man, it's like 2-3 orders of magnitude is just one of these like top spenders. It's crazy.
Oh
I
yeah,
find that-
yeah. No, I was been guilds to several people that will have no problem dropping $1,000 on a single Datacron. It's like, all right, man, get those perfect
Really?
rolls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
just some
Single
people that
Datacron?
got it. They ain't worried about it.
Oh yeah. Like
I know,
it-
but it's like, jeez.
they're just pushing a button. That's all they're doing. They're just pushing a button, and that's all that happens to them.
Man.
Gambling, it's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, gambling. Exactly. That's what it is, essentially.
It's
mean,
the level of disposable income I aspire to.
So here's a totally off. Yeah, that would be nice. Somewhat off-topic thing, but related to gambling. I don't know if you guys follow what's happening in the gaming space or whatever, but in China about this week they announced that they are changing. It's sort of like 2 weeks ago, but they're implementing it this month or the beginning of next year. Sorry, they're changing the regulations around games, both mobile, PlayStation, computer, whatever, that have any in-game transactions, and what is allowed from a gambling or inducement of consumers to use random generated or risk, basically, to acquire new stuff. Like Tencent's stocks dropped 30%. There's a number of games that are going to be banned in a couple of months. And say what you like about China, there's a political, etc. discussions there, but it's like in my opinion, it's one of the best consumer-friendly changes in gaming in the last 20 or 30 years. And I'm very curious if it'll roll over into the North America.
I mean, I like that.
We've seen a little bit in the North America already. The most recent one that comes to my mind was, and it's relevant because it's a Star Wars game, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was almost banned in the state of Hawaii, and I forgot one other state. I forget the other state, but I know for sure it's Hawaii because I'm in California, so it's closer to me. But when that game launched, you opened up packs, and it just spat out a random like ability card for your trooper or your hero character or your Jedi, whatever, and it was random. So that was the progression system. The progression system was you open up packs, and it can give you something you already had. It can give you something for a character you don't even have it unlocked yet. So there was a whole issue of gambling because the game was rated T for teen. So you're allowing minors to purchase this game, and then you're also exposing them to gambling at the same time.
Yeah.
So I feel like gaming, especially mobile games, because they're so accessible, they're very close, and I think that line is getting more and more blurred. with every year. But the fact that
Well,
China's doing that's interesting.
Especially considering how much money the mobile games with the ways to convince people that they're spending money is giving them a nice, endorphin boost, or not endorphins,
dopamine.
Forget the name of the other. Yeah, dopamine. Thank you. Giving them a nice dopamine boost when you a Datacron or whatever the case may be.
I get plenty of dopamine from opening a Bronzium pack. Good enough.
Woo! Nice.
all the glowing lights. I'm just kidding. But I think that's a good change. Continue, Ken.
No, I was just saying. I'm very curious. We had talked about rolling Datacrons and stuff like that, and I'm curious if something like that comes to, I don't know, the non-Chinese gaming industry. It'll be interesting how it affects games like this that depend so much on.
Does that mean all the Chinese guilds are gonna be gone in this game, or?
Yeah, like
players. Because I know there's some people that play that like they're from North America, but they're in China for work or something like that.
Yeah.
And they play the game out there, and I'm like, and they have to do a whole nother thing to get around the IP and.
Isn't the gerbil live in China?
Does he?
Yeah, he does. He's a teacher there. Genzhou or something like that. I don't know.
I guess we should keep an eye on that and see what happens.
We'll just ask him.
Actual players, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what that would affect this game, because I mean, like, there's plenty of stuff where it's fixed. Like to me, the fixed stuff is almost usually the worst stuff. Lightspeed bundles accepted. It's like I see a pack, it's $30. You get like 20 shards of a character, and then some like random ability, like light blue, like the early game ability mats, some crap. But like new character marquee packs, would that be like axed? Because those are some of their biggest hauls. Would maybe they just be forced to sell 30 shards for $30? It ends up to the same 300, but then people would there wouldn't be that possibility of the jackpot to entice people. I'd be fine moving to less RNG in real purchases, like stuff that's not tied to real money. I like randomness, but like I enjoy Datacron rerolls. I think it's crazy people spend so much on those, but it is fun. Like if I get one that's good, I feel nice about it. It's like if I can't get it, I'm not going to spend anything to get it, but it is kind of fun. I don't know. I think that could be good.
I think it would mostly affect the things that are directly related to crystals. So the marquee packs is a great example, but Datacrons probably would stay in some way, but they would most likely have to change they would not sell the packs of reroll materials in random amounts.
Right, they would be fixed.
Yeah.
Possibly.
But still the Datacrons would be the same. I don't think it would change randomness in the game systems, just randomness in the value of the game currency crystals.
All the RNG packs would be removed, essentially. Mm-hmm. Or they wouldn't be removed, but they wouldn't be available for purchase in those countries.
Yeah. Anyway, a little off topic to what we were talking about, but
that was good. Good segment. Yeah.
Before we move on to something else, I just wanted to go back because Tass asked me who I faced. I faced Jeffsky from your guild, but that was different. He got 10, so he might have been busy. And then I played Brilliant Zid, won by 19.
Really?
Wow! Nice.
Well done. They're all three of them are pretty sweaty dudes. So well done.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I was pretty jazzed about it. Rockstar, especially.
You earned every bit of that, Brett.
Yeah, well done, man.
I appreciate it. Rockstar, the score was 2048 to 1884, which was pretty crazy. He got like really stuck on Java for some reason.
After failed, and that was his only counter for it.
Yeah, After failed me the last 2 rounds. Every other time it was like smooth. Like,
you know what it is? You know what it is? I think the key to it, because it happened to me once and I was able to recover, but like I have like a crazy, like overclocked, like Afra BT1 000. And even so, it finished a 54, where if you don't drop out right, it's usually a 57. It's the super high tenacity on Java. Like speed tenacity is long since been the standard way to mod him, but if you can have him up near like 200% tenacity, like a lot of my opponents are doing, if he alone resists the doubt, then he's going to do the cleanse, and then that's going to slow you down. and
Wait, can
you
the
have
cooldown
no
reduction be
interest in being slowed
resisted?
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that
Yes, it
part couldn't
can.
be.
It just doesn't
three-
happen
in
often
3v3.
because she's loaded up with potency, so most of the time it doesn't get resisted. But
Uh,
yeah, it can be. But you know what's funny is I was actually thinking the opposite. I was worried about the tenacity. I'm like, I might just give my Afra all protection primaries, like even on her arrow, because that
There's
was my
definitely
issue.
people that do that. I
That was my
went with
issue. That was doing
offense.
that. Yeah,
I went with offense primaries and stuff like that, but that like I could absolutely see that. I've seen people do
because I think it's like if I just get through that second or third turn with her, it's like I'm usually good.
that.
yeah,
Even if Jabba resists, it's like okay, I'll ramp enough damage with the summon where I can probably just bully them at that point. But it's like she like once they focused her, I was like, yeah, she's out. It's over.
yeah. The one I lost, I tried once and won, and then once and lost because they just went all in on Afra, and like he didn't even resist the cooldown increase. It was just like the basic calls boosh. So I'd wondered if I should just do tenacity and protection on Afra, but I just stopped using her on Jabba and just used JMK because I don't know what else to do with JMK really. So
Yeah, it's interesting. The importance of tenacity mods. I think we talked about this last episode as well,
yeah,
last month.
you were onto that
But
last
like,
time.
yeah, well, it's fascinating every season, especially in Datacron sets like set 12, where there's no bulk. It's just abilities, scoundrel stuff, and then some armor penetration and crit chance and stuff. Tenacity becomes, in my mind, even more valuable because it can totally change certain matchups. So, what are you guys thinking about, like for this upcoming 5v5 season? Being that there's such a large, at least in the 3v3 season, there's been such a large emphasis on not screwing up on offense, but now we have a whole bunch of new characters. Some that are only 5v5, like Afra is much better 5v5 threes. Bo-Katan now is going to be, with her whole team, pretty good in 5v5, hopefully, for the few people that have her.
So
What do
I'm
you...
going to keep Dark Trooper Moff Gideon for Jabba because I'm not going to use Afra, and that's just better banners. So
I've been having really bad luck with that, even though I did make videos on it. Like I've been trying it in like TW and even Arena, and it's like I don't know. Do you have a way to
it's
make
one
it
of those
more
games.
sure? Huh?
What relic levels are you guys at?
I have 8 on Gideon and then 7 on everyone else. And 8 on OG Muff Gideon.
Okay, are you using the 400%? Are you using like
Yeah.
the Datacron with like the buff on basic, the ramp, and then the
Yeah, buff
oh
on
no, not the ramp. It's
basic,
buff on basic, defense to offense, and then
scout.
scout.
Yeah.
Okay. It might just be I noticed when I was tinkering with it, if if either Gideon, I think OG Gideon, if OG Gideon's too slow, the fight can sometimes like be really, really like back and forth at the start. But you want him to strip that TM a little bit early, so you want him like blazing fast. I noticed just him being fast helps. And then obviously higher relics on Stormtrooper and Gideon just because they're tanks. Mainly Stormtrooper with the Datacron right now.
My Moff, OG Moff is 371, so I think he's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast, yeah.
Yeah,
But like
that's fast.
my problem is like Chrysanthemum gets stuck in damage immunity and never loses it. Like he'll just like when I get him down, I keep removing TM like because they gain TM, which causes them to lose TM, and then he's just always like his turn meter just keeps inching down. So like that's my lose condition when that has happened.
Remodding to slow tenacity build.
No speed on Chrysanthemum.
I'm gonna give it a
Thank you
try
very
right now.
much.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm gonna try that, and then IG-12. I did a whole U-turn on that character. I was so disappointed and annoyed with that character, and now like of the 3, that's my favorite.
Why?
I have a really interesting use I'm working with him. Like it's a non-Mando team, so the second I relic him, I'm gonna go in TW and test out my theory. But I want to try and get him on a bounty hunter team because there's a lot of things about his kit that don't. I mean, there's a lot of things that say light side Mando, but then there's some things that don't say light side Mando. And I'm like, huh. Obviously, you have to run him BAM still, I think, to make him a scoundrel. But I think he's got some really interesting uses for TW. GAC, obviously, he's going to go with Bow because that's where all the Omicrons are at. But I think in TW, I think
yeah, and in
Bounty Hunters and
GAC,
Scoundrels.
lots of people are going to have him in GAC with no bow for a long time.
That's true, yeah. So, yeah, and I'm still going to try it in GAC. I'm still going to hopefully try it in GAC. I don't know if he's going to be relicked at all before 5's ends, but I'm going to hopefully try to test out, at least in TW, and then in GAC, what I'm going to try and do. I'm trying to do a Bounty Hunter hybrid Scoundrel comp with him.
Cool. I'm also, I know this is not as sexy maybe as the new bow team, but I'm very curious how Beck plays into 5v5.
Yeah.
He has a lot of interesting little bits and pieces. It's more for me because depending on what his, I'm assuming most people put him at Qui-Gon. Like, what's going to
make that team? He's going to make the team Bad Batch proof, I think.
Yes.
Or you might be able to still Bad Batch it. You just have to have like an over-invested Bad Batch team and play it super carefully.
What about the team with Lumi? Who's going to put their Lumi Omicron? Whoever has that.
I sunk it. I regret it.
Yeah.
Let me. I sunk it recently, and I regret it. So let me put that out.
Well, I'll wait that's one of the few GAC Omicrons I don't have, and it just because I can't think of a way that I would use her with existing teams. I mean, I'm sure there's some nice ways that do something, but yeah, I'm curious. I'll watch you this next season and see if you find some clever way task to use her to some interesting effect.
I got Bo. I'll be doing a lot of stuff with her.
Yeah, that I'm pretty excited about as well. I think, to be honest, I haven't done as much sort of deep diving into her kit, or I've played with her in arena and stuff like that, and she's very nice. But man, she gets so much from the GAC Omicrons. So
That's true.
Do you guys all have her?
About her.
You ever, Van?
No, I don't.
Nice.
Yeah, an expensive character, but I was a bit fortunate. I don't know how fortunate or tiny whale, but the packs that CG had that gave you like 50 shards of all the characters for $20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they played that off as we messed up, and I'm like, you know what? I think they're just trying to be nice to iOS for once, because iOS players are still never going to let that free K2SO go from like 5 years ago.
I forgot until now. Dang right. Yes, I feel satisfaction that I'm getting some.
Android got a 7-star free K2SO like 5 or 6 years ago, and iOS did not.
Really?
A lot of people
just free.
Oh yeah. Well, so
what's the incentive?
The first 2 or 3 years of this game, there were a lot of like, oh hey, like there was a lot of like promotions to get new players to play the game. Like, hey, if you play on Android, blah blah blah. It wasn't CG. Like CG doesn't hate iOS. It's just when they submit these promos, it has to be approved by Android or iOS, and iOS just like said no to all of them. So Android players got like a bunch of cool stuff. So like Google, they had the Google Play thing. It's not as good anymore, but you used to be able to like hoard energy for GLs through Android devices. Yeah, and iOS didn't get that option.
I guess Apple's more greedy with its online transactions. They don't want promos. At first, I used to think the 30% like cut that they take was just Apple, but then like I learned it was Google too. I mean, I'm not like trying to like say, oh, we need to give more money to CG, but it's like that's a ridiculous amount. Like prices go up so much higher just because like off the top, 30% goes to Google or Apple. I think it's ridiculous.
Well, that's why they have the web store now.
I know. I feel like they're kind of hurting themselves by not giving better discounts. Like, what's the discount on crystals? Like 5%. Like they should give like 15%. Like that still like gives them double a margin.
No, they are. They are. Yep. They should. But I think they're trying to make up for all that money where they lose when people do in-game purchases through the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store.
I agree.
The discounts on the web store are abysmal. The only reason to go on there is like, I mean, I don't spend anymore. I'm done. I'm not even buying the Conquest Pass, which I forgot Conquest started today. The only reason to go on the web store is for the free packs, and then if there's like a web-only pack.
The free packs are amazing, though. every single
Yeah.
day, that adds up.
They add up.
So
Adds up.
much.
Yeah, I have a permanent
Crazy.
tab on my iPhone dedicated to that store, just so I
Same.
never have to lose it.
Yeah, every day after my reset, I go there and okay, take my free pack and then
Yeah.
good to go.
I'll occasionally, if I'm having a long day, I won't log in till like 11:55, and I'll open up a pack, and then I'll be like, I'm gonna wait 6 more minutes. I'm gonna open up another one.
Get the next one. maximum saving of time.
Yeah.
So besides, or I guess not besides, any other things you're looking forward to for this upcoming season? 5v5 or new characters wise or TW or whatever, like any fun, interesting?
I'm excited to
looking-
see what they announce in January. Typically, we usually get like a new character, sometimes in the middle to end of January, and that usually kind of sets the tone, I think, for like, at least the beginning of the year. So, very curious to see where they go. I have no idea where they're going. I mean, Bane, I feel like Bane came out of nowhere, and then they said that the next one is going to be a light side character finally, because we've had, I think, like a whole year and a half worth of dark side.
Yeah.
I think the last light side was what, Ben?
Yeah, I didn't realize that until he said that in the post. Like, don't worry, next one's light side. I was like, oh yeah, I guess they were dark
Yeah.
side.
It was like Malgus, Scythe, Trench.
Old Boba.
Malicos.
Malicos.
Old Boba was before Ben.
And then after Malicos was
DTMG.
Gideon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gideon. So, yeah, over a year's worth of dark side. And then Bane, so 6.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm personally looking forward to mostly seeing what happens with Beck, because I think that's what most people will have access to, across a wider range of roster sizes. And if there is a way to make it totally Bad Batch proof, which I think there is, depending on your speeds, even now a really fast Qui-Gon Jinn can cut out most of the Bad Batch teams. That I'm very curious, and I'm curious what the offensive top end will be for that team. Like, will it actually be able to take out any of the GLs? I know, like, the Qui-Gon immunity goes away when you're fighting a GL, but you get the additional bonuses from Beck, the damage, the multi-attacks. I don't know, it seems very interesting. Yeah, and I'm curious to see what happens with Bo.
Yeah, this is like 5v5. I don't have anything to really be excited about, just worried about like Killer and Beck. That's gonna be possibly an issue. I don't know if that'll be an issue for me. I won't be able to get him for a while. Then Bo, that's a whole new meta team that makes either, I don't know if it'll be like a tough defensive team or just make like Lord Vader even worse on defense. But I got spoiled by having all the toys for this whole season because I got Leia towards the end of the 3v3. So now I'll go back to having like one big team that I don't have. Last year was worse, like, because there was Reva came out and my guild took forever to get her, and then Jabba was there. Like, there was like multiple things that like were out of reach. So it's just one meta team that I can't really get. But yeah, less to look forward to than to be apprehensive about for me.
Fair enough.
Going back to Bo's going to be, I just thought of this, Bo's going to be kind of interesting because I feel like whatever people use her for or used to fight her is not going to really be relevant because we're probably going to get Mando Datacrons.
Yeah, for season.
Oh, yeah.
So then she's going to be a whole nother, version of herself. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the new character without the Datacron, and then she gets her Datacron, then she's whatever she is at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting too, Van Seal, talking about you're curious what they announce or start with this year. I'm curious a little bit, I guess, if they do have a character in January, but I'm a lot more curious probably in February. I imagine it'll happen when they have their, honestly, I don't remember what it's called, the road ahead or the whatever, where they talk about
We
what
haven't got
content
one of those in
is.
forever.
Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
they're doing those anymore. They said the one in November was not happening. They just said we weren't
Right.
going to get it.
Because it was the raid, basically. That's what they had.
Well, I mean, I just feel like they've changed the way they're communicating with us. I don't know if you like pay attention, like Meathead, the way Meathead's posting lately, the way some of their updates have gone out. It's just like it's very minimal. It's just the bare bones right now. Like there's no like hi, there's no flavor in the text. It's just like this character's out, this character's farmable on that node, bug fixes. See you tomorrow.
Sure, that's not just a personal shortcoming.
No, I think there's a lot of trying to figure out what I want to say. I just think that they're really trying to salvage Lord of the Rings right now. I really do. And I don't think they're trying to waste any more billable hours on a post, not even a press release, but just a post for this game. I mean, this game's kind of on autopilot at this point. They just need to crank out 4 Conquest characters a year. They already have the next Datacron set planned.
I don't think they're on autopilot at all, but continue.
Yeah, I don't think they're on autopilot either, but in some ways, I agree from the perspective that they've put together a lot of systems now in the game that it requires less manual intervention maybe to make things happen. But I
every
still
month is the same. It's just 3v3, 5v5, 3v3, 5v5. It's the same every month.
I mean, the systems, make it efficient, but like they do have to get stuff done like in like they have a set timetable now, and like in the past they didn't used to. Like it's a 4-week rotation, and they're actually like better at it than they used to be. And then also raids, like I don't like how often they're switching out, but they're like developing new raids constantly. Seems like, as if they want to change it up every 8 months or something. That's something you got to build up from scratch. But like the rotating systems help them work on things that aren't like that. And I do think we'll see changes because like in the last year we got new TB, which was actually a huge undertaking. We got 2 different new raids this year.
We didn't get an update to TB though this year, which was kind of
but like Zepho, yeah. I mean,
well, I meant the 1 year anniversary. The 1 year anniversary. They still haven't announced a new character to unlock. I mean, if you go back and look at their posts when they announced the TB, we're missing like 12 planets and like 4 locations for farmable characters.
Fair enough.
I think they're probably working on
to your
something
point about the raid
right now, though.
To your point about the raid, though, I think the raid is what kind of tipped me off that they're kind of just like they're doing minimal things to have this game run, because the one thing that they did differently that they've never done is when the raid got announced, they announced the next raid, or they told us there is a next raid. So not only did they, when they announced the crate raid, they said we're working on the next raid and the one after, which to me, if you're announcing something that far down the line, that means it's either already done or it's almost finished. Because you usually don't announce something.
Schedule.
And then same thing with Conquest characters. They've been announcing those early. Like Dark Trooper Moff Gideon got announced, I think, a month or 2 before his Conquest even started. And they just told us that there's a light side character after Bane. I mean, and Bane just started today.
To me, this shows that they're actually becoming a mature, maybe too much of a word to use, but like an actual software company that has a roadmap and a plan and a known amount of resources. Like this is normal in every single software development company. It's just that game companies for a long time suck ass at it because under-resourced.
And the market doesn't punish them for it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I'm not saying you're wrong.
Oh no, yeah, it's just things I've been noticing. Yeah, and it's just convenient that they have no competitors either. Like this is the only there's no Star Wars games out there that are like, I mean, well, there's not really any Star Wars games out there.
I'm very curious, regardless, if something new is announced in February. To me, I think I will share more of your non-optimism if like they don't announce anything in February, but I'm hopeful that something interesting, cool.
I think we'll get a marquee in January. We usually get something in January. Whether I think what was it, last year or this year technically?
This year was Zori. Last year was Aiden,
and the last was
January.
And Aiden. Yep. Yeah. So we typically get something.
Yeah, like a turd polisher type team is there.
And I think the Defender came out early too, right? Or was it was like right after?
I forget.
I remember the Defender being early in the year, but Either way, they always get something out in January, some kind of money maker.
We shall see. Tass, how about you? Last but not least, what's your hopes for the new year, new season?
I mean, for this next season, yeah, I've pushed. I got Bo-Katan and I pushed her up to be one of the strongest, if not one, like the highest offense in the world. She's 13K offense.
Wow.
So, yeah, everything's gonna slap. Now, I saw Fatal's video where he's going with like a speed build, and his idea is to stack the ancestral resolve and have the true damage that way. And I decided it's like, I'm gonna just come at you full force straight out the gate. So we'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to see what the results are. It sounds like from the early testing, there's no wrong way to go. But yeah, I also have a cracked out Kelleran back. Like, he's fast. He has like enormous protection. He's Relic 9. I look forward to him doing heinous stuff this season. I see your face, Vancil. It's unholy.
It's terrible. I've seen some crazy numbers. I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, how many Padawan like lessons are going to be on there? I'm just like, you're essentially outvaluing Cat now with the offense boost, which is just sad to say.
I still have the pull in my bot room, because I'll tell you what he's got.
Because I know some people are like, oh yeah, I'm just going to put him with JMK. And I'm like, that is horrible.
Okay, I got this. He's 325 speed, 69,000 health, 142,000 protection, 7,400.
That's pre Datacron too. That is disgusting.
Oh yeah, yes sir, yes sir. That is straight up.
Pre mastery boost. That is awful.
Sir. Yes.
Wow.
You are a mean person, and I love you for it.
So you asked me what I'm looking forward to. I love doing, just like Apex spec moddings on things and seeing what kind of prey I can pick up for that. And that is going to be the law of the land.
I'm going to be looking forward to your streams, 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly.
All right. Well, that's sort of the end of the council for this month. Going backwards from where we started, Vancil, anything you want to say as we finish this off? Say goodbye.
Nope, just want to wish everybody a happy and safe New Year, and looking forward to doing this again next month. I'm sure after 5v5, we're all going to learn all sorts of different crazy things, and getting to see how Tass and X is going to bully everybody with Keller and Beck.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, Tass, how about you?
No, thank you so much for having me. Yes. Happy New Year to everybody. I have a lot of family that celebrates Orthodox Christmas, so their Christmas is still coming up. So upcoming Merry Christmas to them. And really looking forward to doing this next month. Appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you. Sanjita?
I just hope everyone had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks, guys, for coming on. This was fun, as always.
And same for me. Thank you, everybody, for showing up, watching, listening, etc. To the wonderful group. Calvin, we miss you. We'll see you next month. And thank you all again for an awesome time. I love these chats. Happy holidays.
That was it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check all these guys out on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you see it. The podcast is available on Kin's Apple Podcast channel at just Grand Arena Science. So go search that, check that out. I'll try to remember to add links, but no promises. Sometimes they get all wonky. But anyway, thanks, guys. Don't forget to sub to all those guys and give a like to this video if you did enjoy. I'll see you guys later.